Have you ever been part of a group, either your family, a workplace team, even a church, where things just got tense? Where people didn't see eye to eye, and what started as a disagreement became something much bigger? Yeah, I've been there too. This Sunday, we're wrapping up our Rising Strong series by talking about something that every community, especially communities of faith, will face sooner or later: conflict. Not just a small misunderstanding between two people, but those bigger questions that impact everyone. Believe it or not, this is nothing new. Almost as soon as Jesus ascended into heaven and commissioned the apostles to share the gospel, the early church faced conflict. Real people with real fears and real passions, trying to figure out how to live this new faith. One major issue comes up in Acts chapter 15. Some early believers thought that in order to follow Jesus, Gentiles, that is, non-Jewish people, needed to follow all the laws of the Torah, which included circumcision. Others felt this was too much to ask and too high of a barrier for people who were new to the faith. And just like that, tension, deeply held convictions, cultural identity, fear of losing tradition, concern about going too far or not far enough. What's fascinating is how the early church chose to work through it. They gathered leaders together. They listened to one another. They named their fears. They looked for a path that could bring people together. And yet, even in the process, they made some mistakes. The Gentile believers, the very people at the heart of the conversation, weren't even invited to the table. So while they modeled some faithful ways to handle conflict, they also showed us that this work is messy. It's hard, and sometimes even faithful people miss the mark. Today, we face different issues, different sources of conflict, but the challenge remains. Can we listen with empathy, not just to refute, but to understand? Can we name what we're afraid of and honor what others are afraid of too? Can we seek common ground, not by watering things down, but by making room for grace? And what happens when we try and still can't agree? Acts 15 also gives us another story, one we don't always talk about. Paul and Barnabas were two of the most faithful leaders in the early church, but they have a falling out over another leader, over John Mark, a helper. The disagreement gets so sharp, they part ways. But here's the thing. Both of them keep doing the work. They go different directions, but God continues to work through them both. This Sunday, we'll talk about rising from quarreling. We look at what we can learn from these stories and how grace can be the key to moving through conflict. Not just to keep the peace, but to grow stronger, healthier, and more faithful together. If you've ever wrestled with disagreement in church or struggled with how to stay in relationship when tensions run high, I hope you'll join us. See you Sunday.